to study number 9 in the book of Judges in our 3-year Search the Scriptures Bible study program. Today we are on Judges chapter 9, beginning with the first verse, going through chapter 10 and verse number 5. And we're going to try to answer 2 different questions today. The first one is this: consider in this story A, the sin of Gideon in associated with the Shechemite woman and having a son by her, and B, the sin of the men of Shechem, and C, the sin of Abimelech, and compare verses 56 and verse 57 and consider how in each the words of Numbers 32:23 were fulfilled. And then number 2, Shechem was a Canaanite city which most probably had been assimilated into Israel. What does this chapter teach us about the dangers of such a compromise? Let's look at Judges chapter 9, beginning with the first verse through chapter 10 and verse number 5. Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, went to his mother's brothers in Shechem, and said to them and to all his mother's clan, ask all the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have all 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Remember, I am your flesh and blood. When the brothers repeated all this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, he is related to us. And they gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal Berith, and Abimelech used it to hire reckless scoundrels who became his followers. And he went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, once again that's Gideon, escaped by hiding. Then all the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo gathered beside the great tree at the pillar of Shechem to crown Abimelech as king. And when Jotham was told about this, he climbed up on top of Mount Gerizim, and he shouted to them, listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you. One day the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. And they said to the olive tree, be our king. But the olive tree answered, should I give up my oil, by which both gods and humans are honored, to hold sway over the trees? And next the trees said to the fig tree, come and be our king. But the fig tree replied, should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees? And then the trees said to the vine, come and be our king. But the vine answered, should I give up my wine, which cheers both gods and humans, to hold sway over trees? And finally all the trees said to the thorn bush, come and be our king. And the thorn bush said to the trees, if you really want to anoint me as king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon. Have you acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelech king? Have you been fair to Jerubbaal and his family? Have you treated him as he deserves? Remember that my father fought you and risked his life to rescue you from the hand of Midian. But today you've revolted against my father's family. You've murdered his 70 sons on a single stone, and you've made Abimelech, the son of his female slave, king over the citizens of Shechem, because he is related to you. So you have acted honorably. So have you acted honorably and in good faith toward Jerubbaal and his family today? If you have, may Abimelech be your joy, and may you be his too. But if you have not, let fire come out from Abimelech and consume you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and let fire come out from you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and consume Abimelech. Then Jotham fled, escaping to Beer, and he lived there because he was afraid of his brother Abimelech. After Abimelech had governed Israel 3 years, God stirred up an animosity between Abimelech and the citizens of Shechem, so that they acted treacherously against Abimelech. God did this in order that the crime against Jerubbaal's 70 sons, the shedding of their blood, might be avenged on their brother Abimelech and on the citizens of Shechem, who had helped him murder his brothers. In opposition to him, these citizens of Shechem set men on the hilltops to ambush and rob everyone who passed by, and this was reported to Abimelech. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, moved with his clan into Shechem, and its citizens put their confidence in him. After they had gone out into the fields and gathered the grapes and trodden them, they had a festival in the temple of their God. And while they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gaal, son of Ebed, said, who is Abimelech, and why should we Shechemites be subject to him? Isn't he Jerubbaal's son? Once again, that's Gideon's son. And isn't Jebel his deputy? Serve the family of Hamor, Shechem's father. Why should we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under my command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelech, come out, your whole army. And when Zebul, the governor of the city, heard what Gaal son of Ebed said, he was very angry. And under cover he sent messengers to Abimelech, saying, Gaal son of Ebed and his clan have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, during the night, you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning at sunrise, advance against the city, and when Gaal and his men come out against you, seize the opportunity to attack them. So Abimelech and all his troops set out by night and took up concealed positions near Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gaal son of Ebed had gone out and was standing at the entrance of the city gate, just as Abimelech and his troops came out from their hiding place. And when Gaal saw them, he said to Zebul, Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. Zebul replied, you mistake the shadows of the mountains for men. But Gaal spoke up again, Look, people are coming down from the central hill, and a company is coming from the direction of the diviner's tree. And then Zebul said to him, Where's your big talk now? You who said, Who is Abimelech, that we should be subject to him? Aren't these the men that you ridiculed? Go out and fight them. So Gaal led out the citizens of Shechem and fought Abimelech, and Abimelech chased him all the way to the entrance of the gate, and many were killed as they fled. And then Abimelech stayed in Arumah, and Zebul drove Gaal and his clan out of Shechem. And the next day the people of Shechem went out to the fields, and this was reported to Abimelech. So he took his men, and he divided them into 3 companies, and he set an ambush in the fields. And when he saw the people coming out of the city, he rose to attack it. Abimelech and the companies with him rushed forward to a position at the entrance of the city gate, and then 2 companies attacked those in the fields and struck them down. All that day Abimelech pressed his attack against the city until he'd captured it and he killed its people. Then he destroyed the city and he scattered salt over it. And on hearing this, the citizens in the tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El-Berith. And when Abimelech heard that they had assembled there, he and his men went up on Mount Zalmon, and he took an axe and he cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. And he ordered the men with him, Quick, do what you've seen me do. So all the men cut branches, and they followed Abimelech, and they piled them against the stronghold, and they set it on fire with the people still inside. So all the people in the tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died. Next Abimelech went to Thebez, and he besieged it, and he captured it. And inside the city, however, was a strong tower to which all the men and women, all the people of the city had fled. They'd locked themselves in, and they'd climbed up on the tower roof. Abimelech went to the tower, and he attacked it. But as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull. Hurriedly he called his armor-bearer, Draw your sword and kill me, so that they can't. I don't want him to say that a woman killed him. So his servant ran him through, and he died. And when the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, they went home. Thus God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done to his father by murdering his 70 brothers. And God also made the people of Shechem pay for all their wickedness. The curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came on them. Chapter 10. After the time of Abimelech, a man of Issachar named Tola, son of Puah, the son of Dodo, rose to save Israel, and he lived in Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim, and he led Israel 23 years. Then he died and was buried at Shamir. He was followed by Jair of Gilead, who led Israel 22 years, and he had 30 sons who rode 30 donkeys, and they controlled 30 towns in Gilead, which to this day are called Havoth Jair. And when Jair died, he was buried in Kamon. Question number 1. Consider in this story, first of all, the sin of Gideon in association with the Shechemite woman and having a son by her, and B, the sin of the men of Shechem, and C, the sin of Abimelech. And we'll compare verses 56 and 57 and consider how in each the words of Numbers 32:23 were fulfilled. And those are the words that say, the verse that says, Your sin will surely find you out. Well, had Gideon kept himself from foreign wives and their gods, none of the tragedies in this chapter would have taken place. See, Shechem was a Canaanite city, and this was a Canaanite slave of Gideon's that he took as a concubine. Not Gideon, Abimelech. Gideon that he took as a concubine, and he had Abimelech as the son of that relationship. His sin truly then did find him out and caused tremendous tragedy for those that he cared about most, his sons, his very own family. Question 2, Shechem was a Canaanite city with which most probably had been assimilated into Israel. And what does this chapter teach us about the dangers of such a compromise? Well, the consequences of disobedience to God's word are tragic, and they have long-lasting effects. that sooner or later are going to entangle those people that are around us. We can't be compromising with the things of this world. We're called to come out of this world. We are called to be different than the world, not just like it. I hope this study and search of scriptures is helping you to be different from those people that are around you. God bless. Have a fantastic rest of your day.